Hello, hello, hello. We are back with another deck tech. This week I am going to be teching the Hourglass Coven, a 6 mana, 4 black, legendary creature, Hag Warlock. When the Hourglass Coven enters the battlefield, draft a card from the Hourglass Coven's spellbook twice, then put those cards onto the battlefield. Other warlocks you control get +1/+1. So, this card's super cool. Um, I'll show the spellbook in a second, but basically you're getting 3/3/3s for 6 mana, which is really nice. And yeah, they have various levels of impact. Let me bring it up. Boop. We've got Siphon Breath. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. I think they're all at the beginning of your upkeep. Inner Weakness. Target creature gets -2, -1 until your next turn. At the beginning of your upkeep, opponent discards a card. Warlocks you control have Menace. Opponent mills 5, then exile each opponent's graveyard. Each opponent loses 3 life unless that player sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a card. Warlocks you control have Ward, pay 2 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, scry 2. And at the beginning of your upkeep, make a 1/1 black skeleton creature token. Alright, so that's the spellbook. And they're all 2/2s, but they come in as 3/3s because of the Hourglass Coven herself. Their selves. What have you. Anywho. So, I run this as a heavy interaction, attrition style, close out the game with the Hourglass Coven, or a big bomb, with a slight emphasis on scam type effects that bring creatures back if they die. So, a return to action, for example, target creature gets a +1/+0, gains lifelink, and when this creature dies, returns to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. But we'll get into that after I tell you how fascinating this ramp package is. Dark Ritual is kind of neat, and that gets you there on turn 4. Everything else is boring. Burnished Heart, always good. Anyway, moving on from the boring ramp package that is very small. A bunch of 2 mana rocks. We have our enormous, our hefty interaction package. I split it into two piles. Most of them, all of the 1 mana, deal with small creatures or creatures with low converted mana costs, and then we also have a Thoughtseize to disrupt our opponent's hand. At 2 mana, we have several ways of dealing with any creature, basically. Yeah, destroying creatures, losing 2 life and such. At the 3 mana level, we have Soul Shatter, which is a great way to deal with your opponent's biggest threat. Here's Downfall, just generally good. Liliana of the Veil, you can repeatedly get value off of this and works very well in multiple situations, whether your opponent has 1 creature or you're just trying to destroy their hand. And then Murder's Rider, which is fine. It's probably one of the weaker disruption or interaction spells in here, but it is a 3 mana instant, destroy a target creature or planeswalker, lose 2 life, and then a 2/3 on the back with lifelink for 3. After that, we get to our more interesting bits. I love Baleful Mastery. I hate that this card exists, but I love it. It is so strong and so good. It exiles target creature or planeswalker for 4 mana at instant speed, or you can pay 2, and your opponent draws a card. It is excellent. We've got Eat to Extinction, a 4 mana exile target creature or planeswalker, surveil 1. Extinction Event, one of our first board wipes. Choose even or odd, exile each creature with the mana value chosen. So the Hourglass Coven, the spellbooks, their spellbook warlocks come in as 3 mana, and the Hourglass Coven herself as 6. So they're always going to be 2 different sides of this, which is kind of nice. You always get to keep something. But anyway. So after that we got Pylon, which is a Convoke removal spell for 4 mana. Works very well if you've gotten the Hourglass Covenant into play, because that helps pay for it. Price of Fame. Price of Fame I do not see nearly enough. It is a 2 mana, 4 mana instant speed destroy target creature, surveil 2, which is very strong. especially since it costs 2 less to play if it targets a legendary creature, which people tend to run in their Brawl decks, unless they're running a Planeswalker. But I digress. We got a couple removal creatures, Gelatinous Cube and Ravenous Chupacabra, as well as Massacre Girl. Ravenous Chupacabra and Gelatinous Ooze both deal with a single target, whereas Massacre Girl tends to board wipe. It's not always guaranteed, but in many board states, this just destroys the whole board, except for Massacre Girl herself. And all three of these can also be used with the Return to the Battlefield effects of the Scam package. We've also got a nice removal spell in Invasion of Innistrad, a flash 4 mana, -13/-13, that can be flipped over into a zombie producer, which just helps bog down the board and lets you push through to a later grindy game. And Haggard Mauling is a land on the back, which is also very nice. I do love my MDFCs. Invoke Despair. If you played any standard for the last bit, you know that this card is gnarly. Target opponent sacrifices a creature. If they can't, they lose 2 life and you draw a card, then repeat this process for enchantment and planeswalker. Woof. This card has won me the game single-handedly at times. Sometimes it's not so great, but I found it to be very, very valuable at 5. And then Invasion of Fiora, which is a board wipe. It can be a hard board wipe or a soft board wipe. You can choose all legendary creatures, all non-legendary creatures, or both. And then it flips into a pretty powerful Menace Death Touchy card drawing monstrosity of Marchesa. Alrighty then. Now we get into the heart and soul of this deck, which is the Scam effects. They all do almost exactly the same thing. They're all instant speed. Until end of turn, target creature gets something, and when this creature dies or is put into exile. Well, they don't all have that. When this creature dies, at least, return to the battlefield under its owner's control. Well, now I'm realizing that this one actually says to its owner's hand, so, well, you know, most of them do what I'm saying. Return to the battlefield. Okay, just want to make sure. This one is an aura that does it, and it also works if it's put into exile. This is a land on the back. Now I'm looking real close at all these. Battlefield, and create a treasure. Battlefield, and it has Toxic, another enchantment though, so not instant speed, those ones. Null Priest of Oblivion is a 2/1 menace lifelink, and it has a kicker of 4, and when it enters battlefield, if it was kicked, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Always nice. So you really don't want to be paying for the Hourglass Coven twice. 8 mana is a lot. But yeah, so these all help you do that. And the other half of that equation is the sack outlets, such as Ashnod's Altar, Yahenni, Woe Strider, Altar of Dementia. All of those are the free ones, and then we have things like Nasty End. It's a one-time use, but it draws you a couple cards. 2, if you sack any random creature. 3, if it is a legend, such as the Hourglass Coven. Priest of the Forgotten Gods makes you sack 2 things, and your opponent loses 2 life, sacks a creature, and you make 2 mana and draw a card. And then Braids, which is probably one of the weaker ones in here, but at the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker. If you do, each opponent may sacrifice a permanent that shares a card type with it. For each opponent who doesn't, that player loses 2 life, and you draw a card. So, it's fine. And after that, we have our bombs and random miscellaneous things column, in which we have the Acquisition Expert, a 2 mana 1/2. When it enters the battlefield, your opponent chooses and discards a card. But if you happen to have any random bits from any random creatures in your party, then they choose however many cards, and you pick the one you want them to discard. Then Swiftfoot Boots is Swiftfoot Boots. It's decent. It probably doesn't actually belong in this deck, but it's a holdover from when I had a slightly different philosophy of building Brawl decks. This is an older deck, but I do love it, and I've been loving playing it lately. Midnight Reaper just gets you value as your own creatures die. Urborg Scavengers can lock down your opponent's graveyards and build itself into quite the threat. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, you exile a card from a graveyard and put a +1/+1 counter on Urborg Scavengers. It has all the keywords of the cards exiled with it, or most of the keywords. It's got a big old list there. Next we've got Varagoth, Blood Sky Sire, which is a card that I have been adoring lately. It is a 3-mana 2/3 with Death Touch and a Boast ability, so it can only activate this if it is or has attacked this turn. Yeah. Target player searches their library for a card, shuffles, and then puts that card on top. Very, very strong to tutor, and at 3 mana plus the 2 mana attacks afterwards, it's pretty efficient. Then we've got Pitiless Plunder. Whenever another creature you control dies, create a treasure token. It's okay. It probably has less of a home here than in other decks, but it's a pretty strong card even when you're not using it to its fullest potential. We've got Sheoldred the Apocalypse, which tends to put a clamp on anyone who is trying to do fun, broken things like draw a bunch of cards, and can sometimes help you out. It's a 4-mana 4/5 with Death Touch. Whenever you draw a card, gain 2 life. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. Simple, sweet, powerful. Twilight Prophet, a 4-mana 2/4 with flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have the City's Blessing, reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. Each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life where X is that card's mana value. This is just another good way to grind through to a late game, and very efficiently at that. Then we've got Bloodletter of Aklazatz, a 4-mana 2/4 with flying. If an opponent would lose life during your turn, they lose twice that much life instead. Now this came from the most recent set, and I just adore this card. It's very strong. It is very strong if your witches happen to be draining your opponent for 2 each turn. Awaken the Erstwhile, a 5-mana sorcery. Each player discards all cards in their hand, and then creates that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. I really want to use this someday. I haven't gotten to play it, but it sounds like so much fun to just completely ruin someone's game plan. Grinding out with the 2/2s, just like kind of fighting them into each other, is just not enough to close the game very fast, and if you have enough time to get the Hourglass Coven in play, then you're probably gonna win that game. Next up, we've got Sheoldred, a 5-mana menace 4/5. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature or a planeswalker. And then at 5 mana, you can exile it and flip it into some broken saga with a whole bunch of words and text that do a bunch of powerful things. And you probably win the game if you get through that saga. You probably win the game even if you just flip it, but it does require your opponent to have 8 or more cards in their graveyard, and this deck tends to put a lot of creatures from the battlefield of your opponents into their graveyard. And then we've got the OG Sheoldred, the 7-mana 5/black Swamp Walk 6/6. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature. Just generic strong good stuff. And 38 swamps. There are almost certainly better lands to be running in here, so I should probably touch that up someday. Yeah, anywho, let's get into some games with this very, very fun deck. And I call this one Witch Legion. I don't know if I mentioned that, but, you know, the nice cool name we got here. Oop. Brawl. Witch Legion. I used to consider this a D tier deck. It is probably much closer to a C tier deck. It's definitely not the strongest thing around. It tends to fold to control decks in particular. But a lot of my decks fold to control decks because I like creatures, and sometimes I like killing other people's creatures, and if they don't present targets, then I get very sad. Though this does actually have enough interaction for planeswalkers and a bit of hand disruption, so maybe it can function against a control deck. Who knows? Maybe we will find out right now. Well, I hope we don't. I'd rather play against creature decks like this one. So, Sidisi Brood Tyrant is a self-milled style commander. This hand is awful. This hand is still not great, but I will keep it. It's just a little bit light on mana. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, mill 3 cards. Whenever one or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from your library, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token at 4 mana and a 3/3. I do not think Sidisi is particularly strong, though you can definitely build decent decks with it, with the self-mill strategy in Sultai. Well, this kind of asks a question. Do I want the Malkia Rebirth, or do I want to play... I'll just play the Merconver this turn. We'll put that off. But if I had played this turn... no, actually that's not any better for me. Nice, I got another land. Do we... Soul Shatter their Ornithopter of Paradise? That seems like a waste of a particularly powerful removal spell, but I actually do think I'm going to do that. Bolt the bird. Always bolt the bird, even if your bolt happens to cost 3 mana. Oh, I should have attacked there. Well, I'm not trying to kill my opponents fast. I'm trying to grind them out in the long game. Obviously. Oh, that's not great. I'm sure it'll be fine. Pay 2, tap, discard a card, create a 2/2 black zombie. Tap 3, untap zombies you control. You may draw a card and lose 1 life. So it looks like they're probably playing some kind of zombie tribal deck, which is kind of interesting. I haven't seen that particular take on Sidisi. I'm honestly thinking about firing off my Extinction event just to keep the Crypt Breaker down, but that seems like ridiculous overkill, to be honest. I can play Bloodletter of Aclazotz now, and I will. Cool. Oh, they might have a counter spell for that. Okay. Oh. Probably a bounce spell then? Oh, no, just a consider. Surveil 1, draw a card. Okay. Let's see. Ooh, an Heuristic Study. I do not think Heuristic Study is as good here as it is in, say, Commander. The lack of multiple opponents, plus the fact that this is a much faster format, leads me to believe that this is not what you want to be doing in this format. Alright, let's Invoke Despair, which kind of combos with the Bloodletter of Aclazotz. Unfortunately, I did not draw a land to play the Hourglass Coven, but I believe this is going to hurt my opponent plenty. They get to draw a card. And then they sack their creature and their enchantment, and I draw a card and they lose 4 life. And then they lose 4 more life. No, 2 life. Wait, what? Did that? Oh, maybe it dealt 4. Maybe I just saw a number and I'm crazy. I don't know. Anyway, let's get the Hourglass Coven in play now. It's very, very strong. Let's do the Drain effect. And the discard a card effect. So yeah, now we got quite the army here. Let's watch closely. Okay, so it did the damage, it just did it in like 2 ticks, which is very strange, but that's fine. I think I've pretty handily won this game right now. I am not blocking that. It's very difficult for my opponent to get through this without wiping the board now. And honestly, they might just be dead. Discard a card, drain for 4. Good game, opponent. Kill your commander. And then go attacking. Yup. That'll do. Yeah, see, it does in like 2 ticks. It's kind of funny, that Bloodletter of Aclazotz. But yeah, round 1 victory. Easy wins. Disrupting your opponent's mana dork is super worthwhile. I feel like that really helped us stay ahead that game. Let's go on into game 2 and see if we can't get the same result, hopefully through a different path this time. Just because variety is nice. Maybe I can get some actual scam going. Yeah, let's get some scam going. I just call it scam because of the modern deck that recently took a couple bans, playing the evoke elementals and then similar effects such as feign death to bring them back to the battlefield for 1 mana. Ooh, Narset Enlightened Master. This is gonna be tough. This is not the easiest matchup for me, I don't think. I'm going to keep this hand just because it has Priest of the Forgotten Gods and Invoke Despair, both of which can deal with a hexproof Narset. I'm not positive this is right, but we're going to give it a go. If my opponent stumbles on mana, maybe I have a chance. But that's really not what you want to be hoping for. 2 Priest of the Forgotten Gods. And then I'll almost certainly play and then pop the Burnished Heart. Play Burnished Heart. No attacks. I guess I can't use it, but I don't need to be opening it up to anything like the Wandering Emperor or, I don't know the name of the evoke land in white. But the evoke land in white that deals 4 damage to an attacking creature. Attacking or blocking? I don't know, man. There are a lot of cards. And we've got a Teferi slowing the sunset. Yeah, so that's 4 mana. I don't have to tap Burnished Heart in order to use its ability, so we can just kill Teferi here. And then we can just pass the turn. I don't know that's massively important to crack the Burnished Heart at instant speed on their turn, but there's a non-zero chance they have like a Stifle or something. Probably or something. I don't know how many people are just playing random Stifles. Alright. They might be removing a creature here, which is okay. Nope. Just adding, just upticking. They have a 2-drop though. Ooh, seems like they might. Nope. Maybe not. Utilize the Burnished Heart. Get some swamps. Play the Hourglass Coven. And now discard a card. I don't like these options, but I'll take the Scry 2 at the beginning of my turn. I don't... No attacks. End turn. So I can kill Narset when she comes down, or I can wait and then evoke Despair. But I think we're in pretty good shape as long as they just play Narset and pass. Which I think is fairly likely. Though I think that +1 was probably a mistake unless they have a Time Warp in hand right now. Oof. That hurts. Let's gain some mana. Sack the 2 things from the book. And see if we can top deck a scam card. We did not top deck a scam card. But we can nasty end our Hourglass Coven. Drawing 3 cards, which is pretty good, I think. I don't think that's too shabby, to be honest. And then I can just play the Hourglass Covenant again next turn for 8. Ooh, and I can awaken the Erstwhile as well. And I'm gonna kill the Narset with Baleful Mastery, probably. instead of playing the Hourglass Coven again. I don't want them to get an Do I actually care that much about that emblem? I don't think I do. Maybe I'll just awaken the erstwhile. I have eight mana? Am I willing to bet that my cards are better than their cards? I think my hand quality is pretty good right now. So I'm going to Baleful Mastery that. You know what? I'm just going to cast the Coven. Ooh, if they have a counter spell for this, I'm in trouble. Okay, whew. Let's get a 1/1 at the beginning of my turn. I'll lose 3 life unless they sack a permanent or discard a card. And how about more of the same? I'm hoping they don't just straight up have another board wipe here, because that would definitely put me in trouble. Or put me in a tough position. Though this hand can definitely grind through a bit of interaction, I think. The only thing I'm worried about is if they play like Omniscience or discarding card for the end of my turn. I see. If they play like an Omniscience, I would be in a bit of trouble then. Okay, they got their emblem. They're gonna try to race me. Now board wipe me. If they cast a board wipe here, I will... Ooh, this is fine. Non-creature spell, choose a counter. Okay, it's just a proliferate thing, so they're playing Super Friends, which is fine by me. Oof. Alright, I didn't entirely realize that the Narset emblem destroyed or hit creatures, but that's okay, I think. Is this worth it? Oh, I just want to cast it and then hope my opponent doesn't top deck a land. If I cast this and they top deck a land, I lose. So maybe I shouldn't cast it at all. Creature dies. Do they have any creatures in their graveyard? No. Do I have any creatures in my graveyard? Oh, those hags exist. But that's whatever. That's not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for keywords. Let's use a map and see what our top card is. Ooh, actually, that's kind of interesting. Let's use another map and see what our top card is. Resolve. Okay, we've got a Feign Death on top. So let's actually go ahead and play a Awaken the Erstwhile. We both just discard our hands. No attacks from me. If they top deck the land, I'm in trouble. Or a board wipe, I'm also in trouble, but I'm really happy with that Awaken the Erstwhile. Now I can just go attacking, since I had more cards in my hand. And they're just trading off zombie for zombie, that's fine by me. And end my turn. If they try to kill my Hourglass Coven with the destroy effect, I believe I will win the game from there. They do have a Narset. That's scary. I am going to go ahead and just go attacking again. Resolve. They take 10, go into 5. There's definitely a world where I lose this, and there's definitely a world where I win. But I'll win or lose knowing that I awakened the erstwhile. And I think that was pretty worthwhile. Uh-oh, they're scrying. Please scry to the bottom. Uh-oh. Nice. I wonder what they saw. Oh, This is fine. What the heck? I mean, they got removal, but that's not at all what I was worried about seeing. I think they just lose here, right? And it depends on what their last card is. Oh, never mind. They can Narset away my my 2/2s. Yeah, okay, that's pretty fair. Oh, please aim this one at the Hourglass Coven. That would be incredible. Darn. That's too much to ask for, really. They're just gonna exile the Coven. And unfortunately, Feigned Death does not work with exile. Yeah, they're gonna get to swing with Narset again, and that means that I am officially in trouble. Oh wow, you can cast with a kicker. Yep. You got me. Take action. I now have a 10 mana Hourglass Coven. Okay, that emblem has come back to bite me. There's 9. Need one more now. Though, there's a decent chance I lose from here, and I kind of deserve it, but it was worth it. Oh my. Well, this is fine, actually. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, is the most threatening thing here. Alright, the Feigned Death was visible. There was no world where they tried to kill my Hourglass Coven. Oof. Oh boy. Yep, this is a Narset Super Friends turning the corner on me. Yeah, this hand would have been pretty good, but who knows what they had in their hand, so it's fine. Oh my. Sunbird's Invocation. I haven't seen this card in a minute. 6 mana enchantment. Whenever you cast a spell from your hand, reveal the top X cards, where X of that spell's converted mana cost. You may cast a spell with mana value X or less from among the cards revealed this way without paying its mana cost, but the rest on the bottom in a random order. So good. Yep. I am pretty dead. Wait, this does the flicker every turn? What on earth? Ooh, I'm putting this into my hidden Yoriak deck. My 5-color flicker deck wants this quite a bit. I mean, it's a 5 mana enchantment, so it doesn't... Maybe it's a little bit tough to fit, but... Jeez, that seems good. Man, am I even going to get another turn? What are their planeswalkers at right now? Pact Mitigation, huh? Alright. I am in trouble. I am very likely to... Oh, sorry, resolve. My apologies, opponent. Narset Enlightened Master. That was one of my first couple commanders after I started getting good at the game. In paper, that is. I'm gonna flicker Narset, I might as well. Wait. What? Oh, man. Oh, no. I'm thoroughly got here. And I didn't draw land. Okay, I'm gonna good game him. Good game, opponent. Concede. Alright, well, it didn't go as planned, but we got to see our deck do some cool things, and our opponent's deck also did some cool things, which I can appreciate. Especially a Narset deck not just immediately flipping into like extra turns. The Super Friends is kind of cool. I also have a Narset Super Friends deck in real life now, but it's a little bit Super Friends, a little bit Enchantress, actually. Let's get on into game number 3. See if we can tie break this in my favor. Alright, what do we got? Another CDC Brood Tyrant deck, you say? Well, I think we've seen how this one plays out. I'm going to play the Hagra Mauling first. I have plenty of removal in this hand, and I'd rather my lands not come in tapped. Hagra Mauling as a land. They mulch their... Ooh, they got 3 lands off the top. Good lord. Nice mulch. Now they get to discard some creatures if they want to. Maybe, what's it called? Maybe reanimate something. And they got a Rex Sage in their graveyard now. Here, you wanna Rex Sage a Swiftfoot Boots friend? You know you want to. Let's give them a target, see if they want to spend their mana on that. Alright, so next turn I can play my commander. I'm hoping that they just tap out for CDC or something. They appear to have an instant, probably some sort of counterspell or interaction. Ooh, with that trigger on the stack, I can price to Fame the CDC so they don't even get a, zombie. And they would have gotten a zombie. My turn. We go land, we go Dark Ritual, and we go the Hourglass Coven on turn 4. We go drain the opponent. We go opponent discards cards. And we put 9 mana onto the board on turn 4. Delicious. Now our opponent can definitely get out of this, but it's going to be tough for them to fight through so much interaction. And a Shieldred. Which one did they kill? They killed the one that makes them discard cards. Wait, what? Oh, this isn't a token. I'm sorry, dude. I think they cast that in the token version, which I feel bad about. I totally understand that mistake. And now we're putting Swift Boots onto a Shieldred and attacking for 10. Which is not great for my opponent, I think. Oof, what a rough misplay. Oh, that's pretty good. Sack 2 creatures, you say? I'm at exactly 6 mana right now. Okay, have my hags. I'll trust my Shieldred to kill you. Creature, Planeswalker, creature, Planeswalker. I'm gonna use the more expensive one just to spend my mana, so I might be able to, nah, it's garbage. Might be able to use my mana differently on a later turn. If I top deck a 4-drop that I want to play at the same time as a Shieldred's Edict, for example, I would rather cast a 4-drop now. Okay, they killed my Swiftfoot Boots. Now can they kill the Shieldred? Ooh, I even get another land for that? That's delicious. Let's forget about that. Oh no, they put me on 2 mana for Shieldred's Edict here. Alright, well, they also have interaction for my commander, so... Or my, they're down to 1. My board. Yeah, okay. Good luck with... I'm bad at math. Okay, cool. Good talk. Pass turn. Well, I was a touch too confident there, I think. Alright. You mill 2 cards. Whatever, one more land cards to put there. Okay. Yeah. You're not kidding. I think I'm going to go ahead and pile on here just to surveil 2. And if I hit a land or a 7 drop, I will take it. I'll take the land and get rid of the piece of removal, since I'd rather have threats right now. My turn. Land. Witches. Drain. Drain. Nice. Alright, opponent. Good luck. That is pretty tough to overcome. They can definitely do it. It's definitely possible. They have a lot of mana. Alright, they're destroying 1. They're getting a permanent back from the graveyard. Is there a permanent here that is removal? It's a Rex Sage, but I don't think so. Good game. Okay, that was a fun one. It did end up going the same way, but they definitely put up more of a fight than I was expecting. I thought that that first resolution was good, and they dealt with it. And yeah, we got there. Alright. Thank y'all so much for watching. As always, it has been an absolute pleasure playing today. This has been The Art of Dying, and I'll see y'all next time.